Previously on Werewolves of New England. Lycanthropy. You're going to be stunned at where this one led. Werewolves.
They ran all the tests, the brain scans, and so he would drive himself to the police station, and the Bobbies would lock him up.
But the English tabloids found Ramsey and hounded him.
He exhibited superhuman strength.
Ghost hunters Lorraine and Ed Warren heard about the Ramsey case.
The typical werewolf is just the exorcism. And the London police officers talking about being attacked by a real werewolf.
So years ago I had done a seance for many folks who were asking. I asked if werewolves existed. Look, I can't even say that. They answered me. Started talking about an ancient pack.
Are werewolves real? We remember the case with Lorraine Warren. Are werewolves real? What can you tell me about werewolves?
Lycanthrope, antidote, Michael Vodun. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop right here before I analyze any further in my analysis procedure. And I go and I type in basically all that statement. I found a story with a gentleman or an entity, a character called Michael Vodun. So interesting that they mentioned this identity story. It goes to where he was basically the one who made a deal with the devil himself, the entity, the devil, and became a wolf man. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get back to analyzing. They said more. They said his werewolf hunted for the majesties. Am I hearing this right? I started researching in some other databases. And the Majesties are a group of extremely religious males. So after this, the spirits and angels that I work with, they told me, they said, the priest, they lied, prideful guild. So then they said, in the pack, a lot of loss. There are verses in the Bible that I found regarding werewolves. I found some on vampires as well. Now this is 1913. I have my other one here from 1887. And this is a Bible. And I've got a couple of these. I just haven't unpacked them all yet. And I found in here those verses, and I'm going to show them to you. All right. So here's Boston, Massachusetts. Here is Salem, Massachusetts, Witch City, okay? Here is where I almost bought a house, and I still may one day. But what's interesting is that is exactly where the werewolves have been sighted, over here in Dogtown. Because I'm going to go to Dogtown, I'm going to take you with me. I'm going to also do some sessions there if it's quiet enough. Apparently it's a ghost town, so we'll see. What if cryptids, extraterrestrials, Sasquatch, werewolves, and more are really truly just hiding in plain sight? I mean, clearly ghost angels and demons exist and they communicate. And I'm recording their voices while they are literally hiding in plain sight. What does this mean? What else is out there? A few references to men changing into wolves are found in ancient Greek literature and mythology. They were transformed into wolves once every year for several days, and then changed back to their human shape. There are so many stories about werewolves all throughout history. But to encounter unseen entities talking about werewolves, vampires, Sasquatch, other beasts, cryptids, maybe even good entities, aliens, extraterrestrials, this is like a whole nother level of adding to history. I've encountered unseen entities speaking of ghosts, demons, devils, angels, werewolves, vampires, other cryptids. Now it's just a matter of what I do with it. Before America had witch trials, Europe had werewolf trials. Some 200 years before the witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts, courts in Europe were convicting men and some women of transforming into werewolves and mutilating and eating children. The punishments were sometimes as gruesome as the alleged crimes. In Germany in 1589, executioners strapped accused werewolf Peter Stump to a cartwheel, removed his skin with hot pincers, and chopped off his head before burning his body at the stake. Stump's head, attached to a wooden pole carved into the likeness of a wolf, was later displayed as a warning to others tempted to consort with, well, the entity they call the devil. The concept of humans transforming into wolves goes back millennia. Lovers turning ex-lovers into werewolves. In Greek mythology, King Lycaon of Arcadia tests Zeus's omnipotence by feeding him disguised human remains and is turned into a werewolf as punishment. His name is the root of the term lycanthropy, used for both changing into a werewolf and the delusion of being one, a recognized psychiatric condition for several centuries. Charges that real people could be menacing werewolves surfaced as part of the witch trials that swept through parts of Europe in the 1400s. There's a lot to know and understand when it comes to that history. And I will. I went to Dogtown. What did you just point at?
Something moved and a bunch of birds flew up.
Something moved and a bunch of birds flew up. What, did you hear that? If anything comes, you run. Note to camera, we keep hearing something banging or tapping on a tree. It's disturbing the animals, and he keeps looking. Some interesting things happened. There were birds that were flying off, and something was spooking them behind me. We walked quite a ways. No maps. It's kind of eerie out here. This is supposedly where that werewolf was sighted and killed some animals, and there was like a deer found and stuff that was torn to shreds after it was sighted. What is that noise? Sounds like something. Oh, I see it. What is it? It's a strange bird. Okay. I don't know how long the walk is. You know, I should have brought my machete. You know? Look at this. There could be anything out there. I can see how something could be living out here. Raccoon ledges, whale's jaw, briar swamp, cellar holes, Dogtown Square, Wharf Road, Granny Day Swamp, Adams Pine Trail, Babson Boulder Trail, Uncle Andrew's Rock, Winebrook. We are still a very long ways from where I need to go. What can you tell me about the wolfmen and the werewolf sighting in this area? And when I got to a particular area, I knew to stop right there. I just didn't know why. And when I had gone into session, the angels and celestials, my 11 spirit guides, told me that there was a holy site behind me. So when I went into my seance session to see and kind of validate why I felt I had to stop exactly where I was in the woods of Dogtown, my celestials and angels, my 11 spirit guides, they said the history, something that was inaudible that I could not decipher. Then they said the gift of night, which I assume has to deal with curses, werewolves, vampires, things like that. Right after that, they said hex. Something about a hex, which I thought was very interesting. That's happened to me at Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, several places in New Orleans, just several places across the country, let's put it that way. And I have broken hexes before. So there's something very strange going on out there. So after they told me this, they said an old pack, the Wharf, and their manic. So then they told me blood in the water around. And I'm thinking they meant around the lake because it does come up in the next session. And there was a lake nearby that they wanted me to go to, but I couldn't find it. It was getting dark. I was so hot and sweaty. I needed some water. The bugs were really, really bad. And I just did not want to be out there after dark. So I planned to go to the lake at some point that the spirit guides were referencing. But if you go back to part 1 of Werewolves of New England, there are stories, sightings, and some bloodshed that took part in the destination of this lake. So if you watch part 1 of this series, I share a seance session from years ago when I was asking about werewolves, werewolf spirits, werewolf demons, stuff based on the werewolf in England. They had also said an old pack or an ancient pack or something like that. And And I think that this has to do with a bloodline and a curse or some kind of hybrid. And to address the spirit guides, celestials, and angels, speaking of the Wharf, later down the road, you'll see in the footage, I was not aware of it until I got there. There is a road called the Wharf in these woods in a little area, and they wanted me to go there, but I wasn't exactly sure as to why. But there had been some werewolf sightings in this particular area. They had also told me they're manic, so there could be some form of mental illness with this kind of curse or hex, whatever it may be. Not much spooks me, and if you read my books and my blogs on my websites and have a look at all of the entities I have documented, demons, angels, extraterrestrial beings, I've seen them with my own eyes. I've spoken to all these beings. They exist. They're real. They're acknowledged by the government. Ghosts, other entities, bizarre things, translucent owls. I've seen translucent deceased animals, all sorts of things in my life. Different kinds of angels, giant eyeballs with wings, the seraphim, so there's a lot. So not a lot spooks me, but when I am in an area, I feel or sense danger, and I'm miles off, the beaten path. Yeah, I get a little spooked from that. I'm always afraid someone or something's going to hurt me. I've been chased by coyotes before, wolves, bobcats, all sorts of things have happened to me living in rural areas. I've had gator situations, so, in the swamplands. So, yeah, I get a little on edge in, particular kinds of terrain. So I was feeling this. My celestials know this. My spirit guides, the 11 with me. So anyways, you'll hear them address this. So I play the second recorder. That was recording simultaneously. When I do this, the spirit guides that are with me, they choose a recorder and they imprint on that. And it is through frequency and photon practices and techniques, something I explain in my books. So I do often record different messages with different voices, electronic voice phenomena at the exact same time. One sentence will be on one recorder, while the second, third, or fourth may have completely different statements. And what they said was, behind you, holy sight, behind you, you are safe. You are among 11. Okay, let's do this quickly.
The werewolf sightings in this area.
And then they tell me to find the lake. So I'm making my way towards the lake, which is, kind of where I really wanted to go, and some monuments, but it was so far. But I had discovered the Wharf, what they were telling me about.
Stay close. Sometimes I always go
far. I always go too damn far sometimes for this work. Look. It's almost like something lays down right here. Look at this. It's all... Normally, I do this all by myself. I'm so glad you are here this time. Number 18, well, that's a big one. What is this? It was just a full moon a few nights ago. It was on the full moon that the werewolf was sighted up on a cliff, and I think they said they saw its eyes in some cemeteries around here. And the next morning they found a dead deer that was torn to shreds on the beach by here somewhere. I think it's... Huh? Yeah, I saw 20. I saw that. Dogtown Square. There's a marker. We're here. We're at the marker on my GPS. This is... I thought it was more open. It's pretty overgrown. Wharf Road 7. And then there's a place there. Let's do a session here real quick. Come on. Here, you take the camera. I'm really sweaty right now. And when I got there, I had a heavier feeling. The sun was going down. I was like, okay, I think I'm going to stop at this point. I'm just going to do one more session, and then I'm probably going to leave, and then maybe come back at a later date. In the session, they told me that the werewolf phenomena that these creatures or beasts are a hybrid breed, which makes sense because there's so much history when it comes to DNA and hybrids, and even people make have clones and hybrids, and extraterrestrials have spoken of this as well.
Go ahead. Tell me anything you said about the wolf in his pack and the werewolf.
Things do get a little bit more spooky because on my way back, and I did not see this on the way, into the woods, the deeper and deeper I got, and I have everything on film. I saw a broken tree branch, ripped up, torn. Something tore it off, and I couldn't believe it. And so we actually wound up running back to my truck, which was a ways. I mean, it was at least half a mile, and I couldn't believe that we saw this. So here's the footage of what we found, and I don't think it was Sasquatch. Alright, I just found this. Looks like something was tearing this up, and look at this tree. It's all jacked up. It's all look at it. It's like it's not supposed to be right there. Look at this. Something tore this tree right off.